I used the zoom to zoom into the IP router server.
In 2008 it was or so, when kids of the 90s discovered the existence of video conferencing. It gave you the accessibility of seeing another person sitting kilometers away through the screen of 16 inches. The best part, you could see them. You could talk to them. You could listen to them. And this is how the concept of video conferencing came out of thin air. In the public domain, at the behest of lobbies of telephone calls.
All thanks to tablets, cell phone and the internet to make video chatting as basic as tapping an icon from your contacts. However, there is a dull history that drove us to this point. Again and again, many organizations failed in search of perfection to make video conferencing what it is today. Video conferencing has made considerable progress in the previous 30 years. The cutting-edge version of the video permits you to have online video communication from practically any areas around the globe.
The initial improvements of the video telephone took place in the late 1920s, along with the AT&T organization, Bell Labs, and John Logie Baird. AT&T kept on experimenting with video phones in 1927. Previously, video conferencing observations took place in the late 1930s in Germany. This same year, video conferencing technology over phone lines included image phones that would send still photos. Well, webcams started to show up in the mid-1990s on college grounds. The primary commercial webcam presented to the market in August 1994 was called QuickCam, which was viable with mic. However, the PC version was delivered the next year. When video conferencing was at its early stage of becoming the talk of the town, Skype became one of the most famous video conferencing platforms that came into existence in 2003. Skype was so popular those days that if the pandemic had swept across the world in 2011, everyone would have been using Skype to connect over video and voice calls. Skype, which was acquired by Microsoft in 2011, was not used by a lot of individuals because Zoom came into. That was again founded in the same year. Microsoft acquired Skype, which used texting and video over the web, offering a free service to individuals, but certain organizations have banned it because of their unreasonable bandwidth requirements.
So in today's scenario, let's talk about the man behind the application who moved to Silicon Valley after 8 failed attempts to obtain a visa and is now leading the market of video conferencing. CEO of Zoom, Yuan, has made over $12 billion since March and now ranking among the 400 richest people in America.
CEO of Zoom, Yuan, has made over $12 billion since March and now ranks among the 400 richest people in America. Yuan had been considering the video conferencing era for more than 2 decades earlier. Then he stopped his task at Casio to start his own business enterprise. Yuan's parents were mining engineers, and he used to collect construction scraps to convert them into cash when he was at an early age. As a geological engineer's son, he has a master's degree in geological engineering from China University of Mining and Technology in Beijing. He also features a degree in applied maths from Shandong University of Science and Technology. In the late 80s, Yuan studied applied maths and computing at the Shandong University of Science and Technology in China's Shandong province. Yuan's girlfriend was also studying in China, however, at a university several hours and multiple trains ride away.
After working for a brief 4 months in Japan, Eric Yuan decided to move to California's Silicon Valley in 1997 to hitch the tech boom. Apparently, he changed his mind after being inspired by a speech from the Microsoft CEO Bill Gates on the future of Internet. Gates' speech reignited his 1987's concept to expand video conferencing software programs. Like any other great innovation, the story behind his also started in a bizarre manner. Yuan and his girlfriend tried to navigate the pitfalls of long-distance dating. All the while, Yuan dreamed of a handheld tool that might allow two people to peer and speak with each other from everywhere in the world. And then Yuan came up with the idea of Zoom in some deep valley of his mind.
Eric would have never thought in his life that the video conferencing app will change his fortune forever. However, it is not just because of the pandemic that helped Zoom become the town's talk, and the app was popular way before that.
Just a question for you. Did you know that Eric Yuan was a former employee of Cisco? Well, Eric first came to the United States to work in Silicon Valley, right? At that time, he was part of WebEx team as one of the company's first engineers. And being part of that team helped him know the problems that the customers were facing with WebEx. He even talked to the individuals who are using GoToMeeting and several other video conferencing apps. Finally, the answer he got was that no one was satisfied with the services they were receiving.
Eric wanted to help his customers, so he thought of making an application that will deliver happiness to their faces. That's when he came up with the idea of Zoom video communications. For that, Eric talked with several venture capitalists to invest in his company, but everyone rejected him because the field already had several existing and significant competitors. Finally, in 2011, Eric founded Zoom, and then after several upgrades and changes, the app was finally launched in January 2013. Initially, he started his journey with only 40 employees who were actually working with him in WebEx. Well, the faith that Eric Yuan had in his company was amazing and helped him achieve 1 million users on Zoom within 5 months after the app was launched.
Soon, by February 2015, Zoom Video Communications reached 40 million users within 2 years of their launch. And by 2017, the app reached $1 billion after Kingmaker Sequel Capital invested $100 million, thus becoming a unicorn startup within 4 years of its launch. The company achieved this victory without any loss since its inception.
The first significant achievement of Eric Yuan was when the company hosted Zoomtopia 2017, which was its first annual user conference. During the same conference, Zoom announced some great news. The company announced its partnership with Meta that will help integrate Zoom with augmented reality, integration with Slack, and Workplace by Facebook. These were some of the initial steps made by the company towards an artificial intelligence speech recognition program. After this, companies like Dropbox had also invested $5 million in Zoom by 2019.
The biggest turning point was in year 2019, when the company went public in April and initially listed at $36. What's shocking is that the share price of Zoom increased by over 72% on the first day of their trading. By the end of the year, the company ended running profitably. The main source of revenue for the company was through its premium version and several added features in their free version. But the table turned in 2020 when social distancing was the new normal and shaking hands became the things of bygone era.
Second phase.
The world was in a stage of confusion about what's next. Students were waiting for their schools to open. Nursery sing-alongs were waiting to get started. Cabinets across the world put some core decisions on unprecedented halt. And the policymakers were waiting for the conference hall meetings to hold. But they were unable to do as governments across the world have placed their citizens on lockdown. And the Silicon Valley video conferencing app Zoom stepped up to the plate to get adapted to the new mantra, a socially distant world reconveyed in cyberspace with the help of the Zoom app.
Ever since the pandemic surfaced, downloads of video conferencing apps have soared to record heights, and the companies behind them have seen their share prices rise while the rest of the global stock market tanks. Out of all the players running the video conferencing race, the Zoom app has emerged at the top of the pile, leading the download charts in Apple Store. As per the reports, the app was downloaded 2.13 million times around the world on 23rd March. The other day, the lockdown was announced in many parts of the world.
But why the Zoom app is still leading the charts is something you must be having in your minds. Zoom allows users to talk to 99 other people simultaneously. And as mentioned earlier, this app gives you all can dream about video conferencing. Professionalism is on the top indeed.
Zoom app has been used to host virtual classrooms, church services, judiciary proceedings, blind dates, and oh wait, how can someone forget those Zoom weddings which were increased like someone sold the hot cakes in the city?
Well, personally, I have been to one of the weddings, and talking about the experience, it was bizarre yet exciting. It was amazing to see couples tying the knot in front of their loved ones using the Zoom app. Soon people started reading the Zoom app and work from home as synonyms, closing the Silicon Valley app on the heels of the new normal.
Zoom meetings give randomly generated IDSS codes and lack of required passwords to join a call. Research revealed the conditions of 100 Zoom meetings IDs in an hour and information for nearly 2400 Zoom meetings in a single day of scans, just as an example of how easy it can be to find meetings to join. This makes Zoom sitting at the top of the US App Store list and second position in the UK App Store list. One of the many reasons the growth of Zoom is exploding is that it is easy to use. Zoom users don't need an account. It's free to use for up to 40 minutes, and you can join meetings with just a simple link or code, whereas its rival always asks you to sign up. Zoom's simple app approach has won many people over. However, the way to Zoom wasn't easy. Yuan, Zoom has been through a lot of ups and downs. Privacy of issue is one of them. Zoom has been criticized worldwide for several episodes of privacy issues. In the worst case, Zoom was allied of sending user data to Facebook and allowing meetings hosts to track attendees. Eric saw an overnight success, but went into controversies by the phenomenon of Zoom bombing. It saw many uninvited guests join video conferences, usually to shoot abuse, share pornography, or make racist remarks.
However, sooner or later, Zoom sailed through the ships of crisis. Zoom, which is perhaps the most used video conferencing application in the world, has seen its revenue skyrocketing as the pandemic surged, and this was beyond anyone's anticipation. Revenue for fourth quarter has been estimated at $188 million, whereas trade pundits believe the revenue to rise up to $777 million by the end of third quarter of 2021. Eric Yuan's Zoom is seeing the biggest increase because its product is easier and more robust than others. And it is at the right time when people really need it.